folks. The Great Matt Geib here on a cool and rainy Sunday afternoon in the Seattle, Washington area. And this last week I started reading from a book that I really am enjoying. 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class by Steve Seibold. And I've just been reading a chapter at a time because I think it's very applicable to what we do as entrepreneurs and what we're seeking to gain from our business experience and gain in our lives. And I've just been reading various chapters out of here. It's set up in a way kind of like a devotional where you would study it for a day, for that 10 or 15 minutes, and then concentrate on that single thought for the day. And I thought that here's another great chapter that he starts out with, actually, the book. And he talks about, before we get into that, it's just short chapters here, he talks about levels of awareness that the general population of the world is at, that the poverty class is at the consciousness level of, and there's 5% of them. The working class consciousness level, or levels of awareness, is 10%. The middle class consciousness, where he says the biggest problem is 70%. Upper class consciousness, 10%. And the world class consciousness, or he calls them champions a lot in the book, are at 5%. The Warren Buffett's, Bill Gates, people that are at the top of their fields. And, he did this study in this book is what he got out of 20 years of studying this most famous people. I call Steve Seibold the Napoleon Hill of his day because he went around for 20 plus years studying these people and following their advice, and through that he became rich. And so this chapter that I'm reading today, he titles it "The World Class Operates from Object Reality." The world class operates from object reality. Amateur performers operate from delusion. Pros operate from objective reality. The great ones, habits, actions, and behaviors are totally congruent with the size and scope of their ultimate vision. That's why we call them champions. Steve Seibold. In 20 years of competing, coaching, and working with performers from various fields, I've discovered most amateurs suffer from mild to severe delusion in relation to their efforts and competencies. In other words, most people delude themselves into thinking they are working harder than they are and that they are more competent than they actually are. Of the 5 major levels of conscious awareness, poverty, working, middle, upper, and world, my experience has been that performers at the middle class levels of consciousness suffer the grandest delusions. Seems like a lot of those people are just, and I think I fall into that, or I could. I'm attempting to move out of that. We fall into that category because we kind of get satisfied with where we're at. We're just kind of satisfied to stay there. We're too comfortable on the nail, as one person says. It doesn't hurt enough. Whereas some people that are really low poverty, that really hurts. So they really work hard to get out of it. The poverty level, he goes on to say, is barely surviving and living in very harsh sets of circumstances. The working class is punching a mental time clock and counting the days until retirement. They're not expecting much, and no one around them expects much either. They are typically not concerned about climbing any higher. It's the middle class that is most incongruent with reality. They are operating at a high enough level to understand that higher levels exist. Although they don't expect to get there, the thought crosses their mind from time to time. Because of their low expectations, their actions are incongruent with their desires. In other words, they want to live the life of the world class, but they are unwilling to pay the price. Let me read this section again. Because of the middle class's low expectations, their actions are incongruent with their desires. In other words, they want to live the life of the world class, but they are unwilling to pay the price. Since this reality is too harsh to bear, They fool or delude themselves into thinking they are doing everything in their power to get ahead. Of course, they are not. They tell themselves they're putting in far more time than they are. They swear they are thinking about their vision all the time, but they are not. The world class is brutally honest with themselves, and they tend to look reality in the face. They err on the side of over-practicing and over-preparing. Champions know to ascend to the top, you must be operating from a mindset of objective reality. Self-deception and delusion have no place in the professional performer's consciousness. The world class, let me read this again, are brutally honest with themselves. They err on the side of over-practicing and over-preparing. Reminds me of the great basketball player, maybe the greatest one, people would argue, of all time, Michael Jordan. When he came into the NBA, he was not a very good outside jump shooter, but he spent hour upon hour upon hour in the gym over practicing, over preparing to learn his jump shot. Became a very good jump shooter in his career. Won several championship games because of that. Stephen says, take this action step for today. Make a commitment to check delusion at the door. Be honest and ask this critical thinking question. Are my habits, actions, and behavior congruent with the vision that I have for my life? He also says, get a copy of Leadership and Self-Deception by the Arbinger, Arbinger Institute. And he said this book made him turn over all his entire belief system. So there we have it, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. I'll be reading through this for you from time to time by Steve Seibold. Be blessed and have an awesome week this week. Take care.